YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to the Off the Schneid 2020 NFL Preview Series, where I'll be going over all 32 NFL teams, breaking down their rosters, their schedule, giving you a record prediction, as well as helping out with some betting tips. If this is your first time at the channel, do me a massive favor, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on notifications, and check the description for links to social media for Off the Schneid. Follow us on there as well. I want to give a massive shout out to OurLads Scouting Services and OurLads.com for helping me to make these videos. I'm on their website almost daily, and if you're a serious football fan, guys, you need to have this website bookmarked, favorited, whatever it is. Helps me at draft time, fantasy football purposes, when creating bet slips, as well as DFS lineups. It's your one-stop shop for NFL scouting services. There's a link in the description for OurLads.com as well as the social media. Do me a favor again, hit that like and subscribe button. But enough of that. Let's get to your favorite NFL football preview. Taking a look at the Denver Broncos today. I'm super excited about this team, so let's get right into it. Let's start with quarterback. As always, Drew Lock. Second season, second round pick. I'm excited about what he's going to do this year. He went 4-1 as a starter in his rookie year, which is pretty impressive if you asked me. He got the chance to sit behind Joe Flacco, learn, and pick up the offense and that kind of thing, and was very successful in his rookie season with limited weapons. They had traded Emmanuel Sanders at that point when he became the starter. So with limited weapons and with a worse offensive line than we're seeing this season, he succeeded and looked great. So I'm excited to see what he can do in his second year with a bunch more weapons and a better offensive line. So, and you could argue a better offensive coach in Pat Shurmur. So let's take a look again. Jeff Driscoll as a backup, I'm not extremely excited about. I would really rather they go out and pick up a veteran backup. I'm not really sure who that guy is going to be, to be honest. It's obviously not going to be Cam Newton. I'm really not sure who that guy is going to be. I do think Jeff Driscoll could be successful in this offense. They are going to be a run-first type of an offense, I believe. So he could be successful, but that remains to be seen. Let's just hope that nothing happens to Drew Lock. Then we move over to running back, Phillip Lindsay. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in his first and second season, so he's very successful, undrafted free agent. Melvin Gordon comes over from the Chargers, gets the contract, probably not as much as he wanted, but he gets the contract he was looking for term-wise, and they should make up an extremely potent 1-2 punch out of the backfield there, as well as Royce Freeman, who's still there as well, just, to chip in, or if there's an injury or anything like that. So very good 1-2 punch at running back, maybe one of the better ones in the league. Tight end, I'm extremely excited about Noah Fant. 40 catches, 562 yards, and 3 touchdowns as a rookie tight end. That's a very, very impressive stat line for a rookie tight end. It's not a lot of rookie tight ends make a huge impact on their teams offensively in their rookie season. They just don't. It doesn't happen that often. To get over 500 yards is a big accomplishment as a rookie tight end. Look into it. It's a big accomplishment, and he'll be really good in his second season. I'm excited about that. They go out and drafted Albert O in the 4th round, which was a fantastic get. He kind of just fell to him. Some people had him as their number 1 tight end. I think I had him as my number 2 or 3, number 3. But that's a great get. And they're almost carbon copies of each other. They're really close. So that's a great pickup for them. Jeff Heuerman still there, picked up Nick Vannett. So they're super deep at tight end. That's going to be a common theme in this episode, is their depth. Look at the offensive line. They went out and signed Graham Glasgow from the Detroit Lions. And then drafted Lloyd Cushenberry. So they lost Connor McGovern, which is tough. I mean, that's a tough loss, but you replaced him with Lloyd Cushenberry. There's nothing wrong with that at all. He was one of the captains on that team. He wore 18, which is extremely significant for the LSU Tigers. And then, Juwan James, Dalton Reisner, and Garrett Bowles are another year into their careers and should improve again on. And I mean, they weren't a terrible offensive line last season. They did allow 41 sacks, which is a little much, but I'm willing to attribute some of that to Joe Flacco's feet being stuck in the mud. He's not exactly what you'd call a nimble quarterback. Not that Drew Lock is a fleet of foot and scrambler type, because he's pretty good sized quarterback, 6'4", 230. So he's not running around back there either, but I think he can probably move better than Joe Flacco, who again has his feet stuck in the mud a little bit. So 41 sacks, I definitely believe that they improve on that, and they only had 16 passing touchdowns, so they should certainly improve on that as well. Looking at wide receiver, I didn't expect KJ Hamler to be drafted by them. I didn't expect that. That was surprising. Right after Jerry Jeudy kind of fell into their lap at 15, I think that was a great place for him to. Well, I actually said that it wasn't a good place for him to go. I would have rathered a couple of other guys, but then when they drafted KJ Hamler, I don't mind that. That makes a lot of sense now. They definitely invested in this offense quite clearly with Cushenberry, Hamler, Jeudy, Albert O. And then Melvin Gordon in free agency and Glasgow. So I just didn't think that wide receiver was that much of a weakness on this team. I kind of thought that Jerry Jeudy might be their slot receiver, and then Deshaun Hamilton would be the other outside receiver with Courtland Sutton. They just have tons of depth now. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that they're definitely going to be more dangerous. But outside of Courtland Sutton, who is going to be 1,000 yards, 8 touchdown kind of receiver this year, almost for sure. That's kind of my floor for him. Jerry Jeudy, I can't remember what I projected him to be, probably about 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, something like that. Him and KJ Hamler. KJ Hamler will probably be, I'm thinking around, 604, maybe something like that. Deontay Spencer has 4.3 speed. Deshaun Hamilton is very similar to Courtland Sutton measurable wise. And then Tim Patrick is massive, 6'6" type of guy. Tyree Cleveland, that was a great pick in the 7th round. Nothing wrong with that. A bit of a project type of a guy, but his measurables are there. So there's a ton to like in this offense. Even the backups on the offensive line, Elijah Wilkinson, Netane Muti, who they just drafted as well, they got some depth there. So there's a ton to like about this Broncos offense. And this is just talking the offense right now. Ton to like, ton of depth. They can withstand a couple injuries if they needed to or had to, or if it happened, whatever. There's some other teams that don't have that luxury, and I think that they do. They're well coached. They're going to be a run-first team. If you look at Pat Shurmur is more of a running, I shouldn't say running gun maybe, but he's definitely more of a passing type of offensive coordinator. You can see in his stats, 5 of his last 7 years, he was in the top 10 for passing attempts as offensive coordinator, head coach, whatever it is. But if you look at Vic Fangio as obviously as a defensive coordinator, he was six of his last 9 seasons, he was in the top 10 of rushing attempts. So he definitely covets the run for sure, which is fair, and that's how it's kind of built, this team, I mean. And but I mean, it also allows a ton of flexibility for Pat Shurmur to run and gun with these young receivers and a young quarterback, young tight ends, everything. This team is really good looking team. I'm super excited for the Broncos this year. Look at the defensive side of the ball. They lost Derek Wolfe, which kind of hurts. That's a big loss for me. I really like Derek Wolfe, and he's going to be great in Baltimore. But they replaced him with Jarrell Casey. So for me, that's a step up. That's a plus over Derek Wolfe. And I do really like Derek Wolfe. And that's, except for they lost Chris Harris. That's a huge loss as well. They lost Chris Harris, but I think that they're going to be playing a little bit of different kind of defense. He was a shutdown kind of slot receiver for sure. He could play outside too, but I think that they're going to go to more running a little more man. And just get after the quarterback, like a cover 2 type of defense. They retained Shelby Harris, who was fantastic, just super disruptive. He had 9 passes defended. Shelby Harris, a defensive lineman with 9 passes defended, that is a very, very good stat. Something you want on your team, absolutely. Mike Purcell is just a run stuffer, disruptive run stuffer, and that's exactly what you need in this 3-4 defense. He's kind of perfect for it. They drafted McTevin Agum. Yeah, they drafted him, and that was a great pick too. Like he's going to back him up, as you see on the depth chart here. He should be number 2. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get after the quarterback as well as guys like DeMarcus Walker and Dramon Jones. I don't think you can kind of move him that way. I'm not sure. We'll see how they kind of line him up and where they line him up. But DeMarcus Walker and Dramon Jones, they had some pretty reasonable stats in limited action. They had 7.5 sacks combined in, like I said, very limited reps. They might get a few more. I mean, Jarrell Casey and Shelby Harris are obviously going to be the kind of mainstays on that line with Mike Purcell, but having a healthy Bradley Chubb is going to pay dividends for this team. It's going to be unreal watching Von Miller and Bradley Chubb getting after the quarterback with Jarrell Casey and Shelby Harris. That is a dangerous defensive line, and just a bunch of pass rushers that can really be disruptive in the backfield. I think it's kind of no secret how they built this team. When you're in the division with the Chiefs, you build your team to beat the Chiefs. They've built the offense to be able to compete with them, and they've built the defense to kind of attempt to stop them. So if the linebackers are the weaker part of this defense, I think they're totally fine. I really like Alexander Johnson and Todd Davis. Josie Jewell is definitely a good backup to have in there. And then Jeremiah Tacho and Malik Reed. Those guys are capable, and they'll definitely help out on a rotational basis. So you can consistently get after the quarterback here, which is fantastic. And that's exactly how this team won the Super Bowl a few years ago. It's just disruptive, getting after the quarterback, and play good team defense. And I see a lot of similarities here between that team and this team and the Super Bowl winning team. AJ Bouye, I really like. Fantastic corner, as long as, we'll see. I really like him, and hopefully he's still there and he can still produce the way he did in Jacksonville. Bryce Callahan was great for the Bears, fantastic for the Bears, and kind of took on more responsibility every year. And 7th round pick, I believe, or late round pick anyway, 6th or 7th round, maybe undrafted. And now he's a starter for one of the better defenses in the NFL, in my opinion. Isaac Yiadom, I really like. Devontae Busby and Devontae Harris both chipped in pretty well last year. And then they drafted Michael Ojemudia. There we go. It's hard to say some of these names, and I apologize. But this defense is fantastic. 3rd round pick was Michael OJ, I'll call him. 3rd round pick, and then they franchised Justin Simmons. Kareem Jackson, a former 1st round cornerback, moves over to safety. I love guys that do that. I really like corners that move to safety. I think that they can just do a little more. They see it a little differently. I really like that. I'm super happy to see Kareem Jackson make that move. So this defense is fantastic. This could be, again, right up there with the defense that won the Super Bowl a few years ago with Peyton Manning. And this offense, you could make a couple arguments that it's better. I mean, I'm not ready to go there, but I mean, Peyton Manning's Peyton Manning. I'm not ready to go there, but you could make some arguments, and you wouldn't sound crazy, I don't think, in my opinion. But yeah, there's a lot to like on this team. You even got Deontay Spencer again with that 4.2, high 4.2, low 4.3 speed, returning punts and kicks. Dangerous, man. This is a dangerous team. So let's take a look at their schedule and then the record prediction for 2020. You see the record prediction right there, low, high, my. This team finished 7-9 last year, which might surprise a lot of people. But like I said, they went 4-1 in their last 5 with Drew Lock. Only thing about those last 5 games is they only played one playoff caliber team in Houston and lost pretty badly, 23-3 to the Chiefs. But it was Drew Lock's rookie year. I'm willing to be okay with that. Those are all good teams that they did beat. And if they didn't start 0-4, to finish 7-9 after an 0-4 start, that's actually pretty impressive. They do play the AFC East and the NFC South this season. So let's take a look at their record here. Like I said, 7-9. I think bare minimum they're a 500 team. Bare minimum. High side 12-4. I don't think is crazy. I don't think I'm getting crazy here. And I'm picking them to do 11-5 and push for the division. I think that they're going to have a shot in this division. I think that the way they've kind of built this team, they could split with the Chiefs, which is huge. And then I think they probably split with the Raiders as well. But let's go through the schedule here. So week 1, they're playing Tennessee Titans at home. Tennessee Titans fans are mad at me. So it's if that doesn't tell you who I think wins this game, then I don't know. But I think Broncos definitely win this game in week 1 against Tennessee Titans at home. Prime time Monday night game. I think they get the job done. Next week at Pittsburgh. That's a tough game. It's a tough game for sure. But I like the Broncos to win that game. I do. I mean, the defenses are close, and you could definitely say that the Steelers' defense is better than the Broncos. You could say that. I wouldn't really have much of an argument. But I honestly think all around, the offense for the Broncos is better than the Steelers, and I don't think anyone can fault me for saying that. I really don't. I think that they can just pound the rock, 40-plus times a game and do really well. We'll see how it all shakes out, but I think they got a really good shot to beat the Steelers there. At home against the Buccaneers, that's what you want to do. That's a game like that you want to win. They play the NFC South teams at home that you want to play at home. They play the Bucs and the Saints at home. Those are the two teams that you want to play in your own building in that division for sure. And they have that luxury. So I definitely give them a really good shot to beat Tom Brady and the Bucs for sure at home. I absolutely give them a very good chance to win that game on the road against the Jets. I think they win that. It's not crazy they start 4-0 at all. I really like the Broncos' possibility to do that. Maybe 5-6-0. The at New England. I'm not a huge fan of the New England Patriots this year. At home against Miami, I think they definitely get that win. And then this game against the Chiefs, that is the perfect place to be playing the Chiefs. At that time, it's very, very possible that they're sitting there at 5-1, even 4-2, they're still looking really good. And then they play the Chiefs at home right before their bye. I think that's the perfect time to be playing the Chiefs. And it's very nice that they're playing them in their own building first. So that's going to be a tough test. If they can get that win, which like I just said a little earlier, I think that they could split with the Chiefs. So if they can get that win and go into their bye sitting at, 6-1 or 5-2, that's really good looking start for the Broncos. And you can kind of see where I'm getting my projection from and why I see them doing so well. If they can build momentum early, which they certainly can with the Jets, Patriots, Dolphins, and Titans at home, they can definitely build some momentum heading into their bye. After the bye at Atlanta, that's a tough game, but their defense is much, much better than the Atlanta Falcons. Extremely better than the Atlanta Falcons. And their offense should be able to keep up. That's a very winnable game. At the Raiders, I really like the Raiders personally. I really think that I actually think that this AFC West is one of the toughest divisions in football. I really do. I really, really do. I think they have the most parity. As long as the Chargers don't fall flat, which they kind of did last year. But the year before that, they were 12-4, I think. So who are the Chargers really? That's kind of what it always comes down to with the Chargers. And we'll see. But all the teams have the worst defense in this division is the Chiefs. I'm sorry, and they're the Super Bowl champs. They're the best team in the NFL. And for my money and for my eyes, they have the worst division in this, or the worst defense in this division. But I mean, we'll see, but that's just what I think, and that's what I believe. At the Raiders, that's a tough one. I think Vegas probably gets that win. I definitely would pick the Raiders in that one. At home against the Chargers, I definitely like the Broncos. At home against the Saints, very tough game, but it's in your own building at least. So that'll really help things. On the road against the Chiefs, they split. Let's say the Chiefs get that win. On the road against Carolina, I mean, that's a tough one, west to east. That is kind of tough, but the Carolina Panthers are not a very good team this year. They're just not going to be a very, very super competitive team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They're definitely going to struggle a little bit. And I think this team will be able to run all over them, to be honest with you. At home against Buffalo, again, that's another one where they're playing the better teams. I think I have the Jets and Dolphins very close records-wise, but the Bills, I think, are the best team in the AFC East, and they're playing them at home. So they're getting those luxuries of playing the better teams in their own building, which is massive. Tough game, but I could definitely see them getting that win. Chargers on the road, it depends on what's going on with that team, and we'll know by then, kind of where they're at. Either they're going to fall on their face again or be, a winning team. They could just be a 7-9 team for sure. They could. I'm not sure what I'm projecting them to go yet, but go check out that video. But they should be able to beat the Chargers twice. And then at home against the Raiders, that's going to be interesting because we'll see where all these teams are at playoff-wise. Someone might be sitting some players. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that might actually be a super, super, super important game. One that both teams really need to get that win, whether it's for positioning or just to get into the playoffs. Like I've said a few times, there's only one team getting that first round bye now. One team. I don't particularly suspect that to be the Broncos or the Raiders, but they're certainly going to be wanting to jockey their position in the playoffs. And I potentially think that both teams could make it in the playoffs, the Raiders and the Broncos and the Chiefs. So remember, one more team. So I think those three teams in this division could be playoff teams. I really do. And they're going to be jockeying for position. Absolutely. So that's probably going to be a fairly important game in Denver. So you can kind of see where I'm getting my projection from and why I'm kind of thinking they're going to do so well. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you disagree, be relatively respectful about it, I hope, because, there's a lot of trolls out there and I've heard some ridiculous things from some ridiculous people. But, I'm totally fine with people disagreeing with me. And like I said, let me know in the comments and we'll have a conversation about it. So there you go. There's your breakdown and projection for the 2020 Denver Broncos.